This segment it's about the involvement of end users into the digitization process. In this segment, we are going to help and to train and to motivate the users to adopt and to use the technology in the most inclusive and efficient way. As you can see in this video example, we are working with old historical home videos, and by using traditional 8mm, 16mm cameras with the right tools, the right software and the right computer, you can make the workflow very efficient and economically sustainable.
Creating a quality digitization process for film involves several technical requirements to ensure accurate and faithful reproduction of the original content. Here are some key considerations before every scanning process. First of all, use a film scanner appropriate for your film format. There are some scanners who have options for different formats, such as 8mm, 16 or 35mm or other formats. If possible, clean your film properly of dust. Some scanners include dust and scratch removal tools, but be cautious not to overuse these features. Your image quality could be affected in a negative way, especially sharpness. Handle your film with care. Before digitizing, ensure that your material is properly aligned and stabilized for the scanning process. This is crucial to avoid distortions or damage of your original footage. Choose a resolution appropriate for your source format and your desired quality of digitized content. For example, if you are heading for DVD, you should digitize in SD resolution, standard definition. For a Blu-ray, you need to digitize in high definition, and so on. Save the digitized footage in a high-quality, lossless format such as TIFF or DPX to retain maximum information. From now on, your film is ready for the digital world.
So this is the set. This is a typical example of a digitization workflow for unit number 4. So this is an example of different videos. So we have VHS, we have magnetic tapes, we have 8mm, microfiche and so on. And then this is a typical workstation setup. With the acquisition, and for the videotapes, this is the system. Now we have a Super 8 film that is going to be acquired. In this case, we don't have only the movie acquisition, but also the sound. So this is the result of the single frame on the computer, and now we see how it works. At the conclusion of this segment, it's important to highlight again the usage of technology in the right way. But at the same time, when we are focusing on quality and efficiency in the workflow, it's very important to understand how to use modern technology and modern software in the most efficient way. So I hope that this training will help and stimulate end users to digitize and to encourage them to save this very precious material for long-term storage purposes for future generations.
For decades, cinematheques, libraries, archives, and private collections have been custodians of important cinematic treasures. But not only. There are also the so-called homemade movies. Although often overlooked, they are an incredibly valuable source of history and artistic expression. Today, as technology advances, these organizations face a new challenge: how to share their digitized treasures with a wider audience and ensure that they remain alive and accessible. Today, a professional in the field will help us understand the importance of showcasing and promotion of digitized films.
I'm Rosen Petkov, and I'm working in the field of low-cost digitization of antique artifacts, including reels and videotapes, and also preparing training materials in the area. We will enter the world of so-called home film and video formats like 8mm, Super 8, VHS, SVHS, and why it is important to digitize and promote them. Imagine you have digitized a lot of interesting materials, save a lot of memories, but what is digitization without sharing? That's why it is important to have promotion of digitized materials. Digitization revolutionized accessibility. We can easily project these digitized films in any theater or space. We can share them on online platforms, streaming services, and social media. This way, we can bridge the gap between nostalgia and modernity. The best strategy of promotion is diversification. Different online media, including social networks, pop-up screenings, seminars, interactive exhibitions, could increase the audience. Don't underestimate the power of social media and possible discussions and interactions inside. There are different tools that enrich the engagement of users. For example, there are a lot of interesting groups and pages in social media. You could find a lot of archives, a lot of movies, presentation, a lot of discussion about different artifacts, collectors' pages, where you could not only read interesting information, but also could present your own digitized materials. Also, it's important to care about promoting the already shared materials in the net. Sometimes you need to reshare them in different groups in other channels, and why not also promoting them with pay advertising. Sometimes it's important to think how to make them really visible to the audience. In the social media there are a lot of information, a lot of materials, and sometimes it's not so easy to show your material to the audience, to give them a chance to see it. The success of the promotion depends very much on storytelling. What kind of interesting story you will tell showing your reels. It is important to think about that people are not just watching something, but they're getting something when they're watching. There should be emotion, there should be something important for them, there should be something romantic from the past, something that is interesting for them. So when you are sharing some digitized data, you always have to think why people will watch it, why they will hear or listen the sound. And it is important to to know who will be your target, who will watch this movie. And depending on the target, of course, you have to try to tell something interesting, to tell something that people don't know or forgotten. And in this way, to increase the users, to increase the numbers of your channel. It's important to think about interesting storytelling.
By digitizing and promoting the home video formats such as 8mm, Super 8, VHS, SVHS, we have the potential to inspire passion, preserve legacies, and celebrate the magic of a different type of filmography. Furthermore, by embracing the digital era, we ensure that these timeless films are not just preserved, but cherished, revered, and enjoyed by generations to come.
Hey Han.
Hey.
Hey, you also love old cars, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you know that recording of the Spiker from 1921, which rode the famous Spiker race, Spiker ride in fact, not a race, in 2021 again?
No, I don't know it. What was Spiker Ride?
No, I'll show you. Here, I have this website. And look, here is some recording. In 1921, there was a new type of Spiker, a famous car at that time. Did you know that the Spiker was the first four-wheel drive six-cylinder? Well, in 1921 that car made a test drive of not just a few hundred kilometers, but no less than 30,000 kilometers in a row. They did this by constantly driving back and forth from Nijmegen to Sittard. It attracted a lot of attention from the press at that time and even resulted in film recordings.
No, I didn't know that. That's cool. And can we find the original recordings?
Well, let's see, you just, we have Google for that. Okay, this is the one we just found from L1, but is there another link? Yeah, here VPRO, what's that? Oh, so this is a dead link. Can be found. Well, let's look further. Maybe on YouTube. No. So this is no, not on YouTube. But wait a minute. Is there? Couldn't the film be found via the Polygon news? There's a lot of material from, let's say, 1920.
Let's take a look at Silent Vision website. I think they are listed there. Yes, found it immediately. It's nice to have correct metadata.
Look, we can download it for only 48€. And of course it's now royalty free.
Okay, done.
Great, that's nice. We can place it in our website too. It gives nice information to our visitors. But it perhaps would be interesting to make it even more interesting for them. Can't we use artificial intelligence to make the film a little more enjoyable? Because color is easier appreciated by many these days.
Good idea. I see what I can do. There is software for that. For example, the program Diodify.
This AI program is based on deep learning, which is a subcategory of artificial intelligence, and can recognize different objects in a film, such as people, houses, or cars, and color them based on the stored knowledge about what color something typically is. So, the algorithm knows that the sky is blue, that clouds are white, and grass is green. To work with the program you will have to upload the movie to, for instance, YouTube. That is no problem in our case because the film is in the public domain. Still, let's keep our upload hidden on YouTube because it's work in progress, and not ready to publish. With just a few clicks, the AI program will start to generate a colorized version of your film. The total length of the original black and white film is 3.5 minutes, and it took less than 15 minutes to colorize it. The result is a much more attractive film for presentation.
It's really nice. It gives a new dimension on historical information. However, there is the question of the ethics. Are we sure that these are the right colors? No, not entirely. AI does not know everything, I suppose. Think about soldiers' uniforms, for instance. If the soldier's uniform, which was originally green, is colored black or brown, it suddenly becomes the enemy. So that's not good. So I think it's necessary to see AI as additional and never a replacement of the original.
That's correct. AI does not know everything, and this lack of historical knowledge is reflected in your test result. The bright yellow color of the spiker was a characteristic of the car, but is not shown in the AI colorized film. This has to be set manually. The algorithm that I use has kept the color light because it does not know that the color should be yellow. The only thing it knows is that the color should be a light color. You are right that the coloring should be the same as shown in the new film that was recorded in 2021. The bodywork of the car is bright yellow, except the car's hood and roof. So, at all time, keep your original footage as well. The lack of historical knowledge is one of the main problems when you work with AI coloring programs. Sorry about that, but we are still learning.
At the beginning of 21st century, libraries, museums and archives were moving toward ever-increasing transformations. The Internet and the new information and communication technologies offer many and varied opportunities for the modern cultural institutions. The change in the digital era add to the traditional activities of libraries, museums and archives a very important goal, digitization. The transition from the printed to the digital era is directly related to the qualitatively new activity, not only the passive collection and storage of information about objects of cultural and historical heritage, but also to creation of prerequisite and condition for their active digitization, preservation and offering. The aim is to provide free global access to valuable information sources based on modern forms. Archiving, an important factor for the preservation and long-term storage of the created digital collections. Although the library team has well-established traditions in the field of participation in the implementation of the MobiReel project, stimulated us to review and upgrade our activities in accordance with good global practices.
Nowadays, the daily lives of both business and individuals are heavily dependent on data. In some cases, the loss of data is simply inconvenient, while in others, it is absolutely unacceptable. Regional National Library Pet Kurachov Slaveykov has a digital library space through which you can access the existing electronic online catalogs or digitized materials and editions. The purpose of the digital library is to provide open access to the public to electronic publications whose copyrights belong to the library. Here you will find a complete catalogue of all periodicals received and stored in the library from 1860 to the present days. books in digital media, CD, DVDs. Also, the catalog is in a continuous process of updating the records of the library documents from the period of 1878 to 1993. The Regional National Library is the only one that produces and stores digital sources in the region. The library also works on the digitization of home cinema film and non-professional cinema sources. With this idea, it cooperates on European projects for the preservation of digitized sources. The data backup can be done on various media, such as magnetic tapes, hard drives, optical discs, solid-state drives, or remotely using external cloud services in data centers. In recent years, there has been a frequent shift to the full cloud backup solution, or a mix of a local and remote cloud servers. This practice gives a better security against data loss and provides faster data recovery. One possibility for data storage is to host it on a server for an operational copy of the source. This provides a number of advantages, such as easy access to shared resources, automation, flexibility, and virtualization of the resources. Whatever the strategy and implementation of publishing and sharing of user data, an absolutely mandatory element of it is its archiving. Whatever the strategy and implementation of publishing and sharing of user data, an absolutely mandatory element of it is its archiving. The creation of a workable backup copy or copies, which in case of technological failure or other accidental event, can provide a backup solution and quickly recover the loss.
A good industry rule for archiving is 3-2-1 rule. This means that the organizations must have at least 3 copies of their data which exist simultaneously at any given time. The companies must have at least 2 different types of media for their copies. For example, disk drives or tapes or cloud. And at least one of these copies have to be kept in a different place, off-site. Thanks to its participation in the project, the library apply optimal set of technologies. Nowadays, we keep at least 4 identical copies of data, which are written on 2 different kinds of media, on a hard disk drives and in a cloud, and just at least one of them is kept off-site in a cloud in another place, and we store them in 2 different locations.
The regular and appropriate data archiving is a logical and self-evident activity for every single organization.
When the Cinematheque acquires a collection or a film, whether it's received as a gift or a mandatory copy delivered to Cinematheque according to law, first step is to create a record of the acquired asset. Sometimes, during handover, mostly involving films and materials not provided as mandatory samples, we may lack sufficient information about what we are acquiring. For instance, we might receive 5-6 rolls of 8mm films from an individual without knowing their content or condition. Nonetheless, we meticulously document what we have acquired, and these records are securely archived within the Cinematheque. Typically, these records contain essential information such as number of reel, film strip details, whether the film includes sound or not, the source of the material, and any available information about the content. The films then proceed to the film archive, where they are logged into an entry book, assign an entry number, and receive an official signature. Subsequently, they undergo to so-called processing. What does this processing involve? Surely a review of the film, regardless of the recording medium, whether it's tape or video, and potentially their transfer to a medium suitable for viewing. Filmologists at the Cinematheque then watch the film and conduct so-called primary filmological processing. Depending on the material significance, primary processing may involve simply describing the content, or more commonly, detailedly describing each shot or sequence. During processing, the cast and credits of the film are written down. Technical characteristics such as sound, color, duration, condition, and overall technical quality are evaluated, and the film gets its signature. Signature is code with digits and letters that help us finding it in our storage, whether it's film depot or digital storage. 3 decades ago, when I began working at the Cinematheque, all of these records were typed on cards, a yellow one. Technical cards were also created for each film, and they were pink. And we also utilized a little white cupboards with keywords where we have typed on type machine significant objects, events, and individuals that were appearing on the film. However, today we shifted to using the computer base, and the search button for such tasks are eliminated. My arrival at the Cinematheque coincided with the emergence of Windows at the beginning of 1995. But even at that time, we already had digital database. In fact, 2 databases, one local, we called it ISIS, and another which could be described as Yugoslavian base, we called it Baza Film. Baza Film operated through a terminal and a dot matrix printer on perforated paper connected to a database in Slovenia. ISIS was a software developed by United Nations, and with the introduction of Windows it was upgraded to Windows version. 5 years ago, we collaborated with a software company to develop a program that utilized the existing data while enhancing capabilities with the new program. Although there was some data loss during the transition from this ISIS base to our new base, the price we paid was deemed acceptable. Toward the end of last millennium, the Cinematheque also produced an interactive CD-ROM called The Century of Film of Macedonia, containing data from the databases and catalogs we maintained. We know that CD-ROMs are not longer in use, and in response to that, in 2002 we launched the Mat Cinema website. This website was created using Dreamweaver software, and this site provides a comprehensive overview of our catalogs of Macedonian films. While I acknowledge the digitization, the reality is not without its challenges. Therefore, I advocate for a dualistic approach within the cataloging framework. I appreciate the benefits of digital cataloging and the search option and analysis capabilities they offer. However, I also recognize the importance of physical documentation. For instance, in 2002, we published a catalog of the Macedonian film fund, which I still find unavailable for locating films and their content. As I mentioned earlier, the Cinematheque is committed to professional engagement in this field, and we have developed storage and cataloging systems. Similar institutions worldwide have adopted comparable methods, sometimes out of necessity due to workflow, sometimes through the sharing of knowledge and experience. Initially, we employ library cataloging methods and even utilize the universal decimal catalogization, which is used in libraries. So, according to that experience, all holders of audiovisual records can develop their own cataloging methods or benefits from shared experience. we heavily rely on private owners that are typically amateurs in cataloging. But we have been fortunate to receive beautiful curated collection from individuals who compensate their lack of formal expertise with genuine love of care for their holdings as a form of philately of its own right. Accordingly, I have observed individuals on the internet with a remarkable talent for presenting their video film collection representing online catalogs. I follow a few of them, and I can cite the Bujurovsky Archive and Skopje Fandango channels on YouTube as primary examples. Moreover, when discussing digital catalogs, it's impossible to overlook IMDb. It stands as the largest online movie database, underscoring the indispensability of cataloging in our film. IMDb prominence serves as a testament to the pivotal role cataloging plays in our